Yo. Hi, everybody. I'm trying a new angle here. I have a weird camera setup. I've been doing this every week, it seems like. Hi. Welcome to another episode of WIP Wednesday Live. Tonight is episode 41, and I am super excited for tonight. I've got some really great guests on. For anybody who doesn't know, this is a weekly live stream that I usually do customizing, or I chat with friends within the community. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, that would be helpful as well. So please help us out and give us a like. See, we've already got the spoons out in the chat. That's good. Last week, it was all about wrestling last week. I'm fresh into these WWE figures, and I was working on these Ultimate Hardy Boy figures, which I'm really happy with how they turned out. And I also did this really fun Y2J Chris Jericho from Attitude Era. So yeah, just get out of there. Really cool. But yeah, I'm not going to waste too much time because I have limited of it with these guys. So I'm just going to bring them on before we start saying hi to everyone in the chat. So if you guys don't know who these guys are, I definitely recommend checking them out both individually and on the figure booth. I'm just going to bring them in. This is Prime to the First and Figure Fan Nate of the Figure Booth. Hey guys.
What is up?
Hey. How's it going?
Man, what's up, Matt? To be here.
Thank you guys very much for being here.
What a pleasure,
Appreciate
man.
It.
What a pleasure.
As Honored you guys know, here. It's hard for me because it's like I want to just fanboy out because it's like it's like I'm a huge fan of both of what you guys do on your own, but I particularly am really a huge fan of your podcast, The Figure Booth, and I'm hopeful that anybody who is not familiar with you guys will go over and check that out after we're done here tonight. They're available on all podcast services. All of their information, their YouTube is all linked below in the description, as well as their individual channels. But yeah, great to have you guys on. Thank you guys very, very much for being here. Sorry.
I would say we're honored to be here, man. Always we've been friends outside of the show. We've had you on as a guest, learned a lot about you. So definitely honored to be here, man. Thank you for inviting us.
Well, I appreciate it. For anybody who maybe doesn't know who you guys are, I thought maybe you guys could just give a quick recap on who you are and what you do. I don't know if you guys want to like tag team it or like
we always tag team it. Beauty before age. So go ahead.
Right. Tag team is our norm. Yeah. So we are the Figure Booth. Me and Prime to the First here. We have a podcast where we talk about the ups and downs of being a modern day collector. We go over pre-orders. We talk about our weekly plastic confessions, as well as conducting interviews with members of the toy community. We have a lot of fun with it. Me and Prime have been doing it for I don't know what, Prime,
a little over a year. Oh, it's gonna hit the 2-year mark.
Maybe I might be. I always spread rumors and start beef. That's kind of what I'm known for.
I don't think it's been in a relationship that long. I don't think it's been 2 years.
Maybe not 2 years.
I'll take my toothbrush back.
But we're at. I think we reached officially 100 episodes on YouTube, combined with our lives and our podcasts. We did audio for a little while before, and then we switched to YouTube. It's a ton of fun. Me and Prime really have a good time with it. So if you guys haven't found us, please go to our YouTube channel after you.
Wait, I'm prepared. I'm prepared. Hang on.
Oh, nice.
I'm still getting used to the whole even though I've had guests before, I fail to do this. Regularly.
You're right, Nate. We're like 2 months shy of 2 years. That's crazy.
Hey, see, I knew it.
That's crazy. I'm nervous now.
You made me feel weird in 2 years. Then
I know.
I'm sure 2 years.
And it's crazy because the whole idea came about was just like relevant topics that we talked amongst ourselves in the DMs, and I'm like, you know what? I think we're onto something. Let's throw it out there and see if it sticks.
Yeah, well, that's the thing I like the most about your guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, to not take away anything from I love Toy Amigos. Actually, the reason why I got into you guys was I think I'd followed Prime because of his arcades since the Just Jay Hernandez days.
Oh,
so it's been like a minute. but
Mm-hmm.
but like I think I got into the actual Figure Booth podcast because of your episode with Cheney. So Cheney, like, you know, so the Toy
Nice.
Amigos have really been my gateway drug for like
Yeah.
most of these shows that I'm into now, right? We even like
Yeah.
were toying around and Between Two Sentinels and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
like, so I remember like that kind of brought me over, and then I actually wrote it down because it's kind of funny. There was like a couple weeks later, so I kind of was kind of staying on it pretty regularly when they were dropping on Sundays. More podcast than video.
Yeah.
Usually I like to be able to like actually sit down and pay attention to a video, but the podcast just works easier for me, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of going through this, and I think I may have mentioned it on our episode when I was with you guys, but I was kind of going through this like internet drama beef thing, like and you guys did an episode about like haters, and it just like it resonated with me so much, and it was just like that perfect melody of like what was happening that exact day. It wasn't even like I was listening to you guys, and then like 3 or 4 hours later there was like all this hate towards me on something, and I was just like, man, that like totally helped me get through that whole episode. It with just
awesome.
You know, calmer heads prevail and just not feeding the trolls. And it was just I was just like, well, the other guys who were kind of getting blasted were kind of like, you know, making a deal about it. I was just like, I'm not giving them energy, man. I'm just gonna fucking sit back and, you know, you say what you need to say. And I think most people that talk to me, like, you know, they can see through a lot of that, right? So but
I think that's really hard, you know.
It is. It really can be.
Pump the brakes and not get emotionally invested. I think when you're able to just pause and reflect, it gives you perspective, because then it kind of puts your emotions in check, and you kind of see like, okay, why am I wasting time in this? And it's so funny because lately I've been dealing with like work stuff, like life stuff that's really like not fun, right? And I'm like, is it worth it? But then when you start defining, okay, what is worth? Like, time is it worth it? Is it worth my money? Is it worth my time? So then at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, does it add any value? Like, why am I stressing over this work project? Why am I stressing over these comments? Is it bringing more value to my life right now? Does it really resonate with me right now? Or can I just sit back and like let it fizzle out and then go about my day, you know? So it's crazy. We do get a lot of that type of feedback where we just hit certain topics. And the crazy thing is, though, that this community is so large, and at the same time, it's really, really close knit, because a lot of us, it's like 3 degrees of separation, if not less, you know? And
totally.
It's amazing how Nate knows a ton of people. I know a ton of people, but amongst the two of us, like, it's like, oh, I know so-and-so, and all of a sudden we start figuring out that we're all related because of this one transaction that we had like years ago, you know? So it's, to me, that's the part that I love about the community, that you can be a fan of everyone and show support to everyone, and that gets us much more further than trying to just split everyone, you know? It doesn't make any sense in trying to, like, there's enough pie to go around. Like, I always look at it in abundance instead of scarcity.
Yeah, man, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, I think it's easy to be negative. It's hard to be positive, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to try to break someone down. It's hard to be the guy in the room that's like, hey, you know what? This is actually okay.
It's okay.
Like, I'm happy.
Sometimes it's easier said than done. I mean, the thing is we're all a passionate bunch, you know what I mean? And we're all passionate about different things and what, you know, we want and what we, you know, expect from our hobby, right? So like it's it's hard sometimes to stay positive. But you know, I try to remove myself from those. You know, there's a lot of things that I don't like, and like even stuff today with that Spider-Man, and it's just like seeing all the negativity. I'm just like, look, guys, like, it's not like I don't agree with you, but I'm just like, tone it down. Like,
and we saw it coming. Everybody saw it coming. We all knew that price hike was going to be the price hike. I mean, but then if you think about it, that's a crazy price hike.
That is a crazy.
That to me, I'm like, this is a sign for me. It's a sign. I feel sorry for the collector that's just coming into the game. Like, I got enough. Like, right above here, there is about 30 Spider-Man, all Marvel Legends. And I'm like, I've done my time with Spider-Man. Like, I can break up with my Marvel Legends, and I'm okay, because the most I paid is like $21.99, maybe. It's far and few that I've paid $24.99 for a Marvel Legend, you know? So this $34.99, no thank you. I'm out.
Yeah, well, it's weird because here in Canada, like in 2 years, our retail price for Marvel Legends has gone from $30 to $50 in 2 years. It's crazy.
That's a lot.
It's so crazy.
Big increase when you're getting. I don't want to sound negative, but you're getting relatively the same thing, right?
Sometimes not
it's
even.
Not less.
I mean, look at this Spider-Man. We're not even getting a full set of hands.
And the same web accessories from the previous release.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
unfortunate.
I mean, the reality is, yes, the pandemic has made things more expensive for a lot of companies. But, you know, I look back in the past, I don't remember Mafex really going up a lot over the last 2 years.
No.
Mezco stayed relatively consistent. I'm sure there's other companies I'm not thinking about. Hasbro, I think, is the one that is the most visible because it's also one of the largest, and it's one of the ones that seems to be the most popular with a lot of members.
And it spans across so many properties too, right? So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to quickly just acknowledge the chat because there's a lot of people here and there's some new faces and names. So Jordan from Canada, hey man, what's up?
Hey.
Thank you for being here as always. We got both of these guys here, Figure Booth, Figure Fan Nate, Cholo Fig saying what up. Prime's brought a spoon. I thought it'd be funny. We should have done like should have been more prepared. Did like an ASMR cereal eating like short
I had
or something.
My bowl of cereal ready, but I was like, I'm not gonna be able to talk and eat at the same time. I want to choke on here.
I'm gonna have milk running down my beard. Nobody wants to see that.
Hey, they might. It's my turn to something else.
Toy Farce is here. Morning, man. What's going on? And Trevor, 16 Shooter says, "Whoa, look who's here." Nice. I know. I pulled a good guess this week. It's good.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
Matchu Toy is in the house. What's up, man? Just finished watching Between Two Sentinels just right before I came on. So
another great podcast in the community.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Just fresh, but yeah, they're doing a great job so far.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
thanks everybody for hanging out with us.
J-Shot is like so charismatic, eh? It's like I feel like I'm watching like a wrestler. Like it's just it's got the mic skills.
Which is great for, doing a podcast. You need that.
I know, it's great.
You got to be able to bring that to the table.
That's the hard part. We can talk about that in just a minute. Because that's one of the things I struggle with. So Nico Hodge says, "What's up, fellas? Neil's here. How's it going, man?" Says, "How come Prime doesn't have a shitload of figures in his background? What's his deal?"
He kind of does if he moves his head a little bit.
Yeah, you just got to turn the camera, right?
That top row.
All that right there.
In front of him. You look at his bed. He's got
right here. There's all bunch of figures. I'm selling them. That's why.
Trevor says Hasbro did say they want to increase profit by 50% over the next 2 years. So there you go.
So with that, I've seen a lot of people really latch onto that comment. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you. Saying hello to the chat.
No, by all means.
But being Hasbro is a huge corporation. They have shareholders that they have to satisfy. Yep. So I think statements like that are more of like, hey, don't worry, shareholders, we're increasing profits. But of course, and I get why, the community is like, well, what do you mean? You're just start gouging me now so that you can increase profits? Profits are what a company always wants to achieve.
Yep. Yeah, they're not in business for favors. Like you don't survive off that. You survive off profit.
Yeah, I bet you a lot of companies have said, hey, we want to increase profits 50%, but maybe not made it so public.
I think that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it's the way
it's the timing. It's like they're being very vocal about it without saying it like kind of like dickishly. Right. They're being very vocal about it at a time where like it's like a price increase after a price increase after a price increase.
Right, exactly.
So, I agree. The timing could have been better.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the thing that sucks is like my collection is still majority Hasbro, and like I really don't see that changing. Like, that they make what I really love the most, right? And like I don't see that changing, but my bigger thing is like I'm starting to say no to things a lot more. Like even that Spider-Man today and a regular like rewind a year ago, I would have hit the button on that immediately. But then I saw the price and I was like, I don't really need it that bad. Yeah. Like, if you had a dedicated sculpt, like to not just like a retro body repaint,
right?
I might have had a harder time to say no, but
right.
So
it's hard too because you want to stay loyal to the line.
Yeah.
But then, I can't buy everything, and there has to be a limit somewhere.
Well, it's funny because I'll just say quickly hi to Articulated Heroes, who I don't think I've seen on here before. So thanks for being here. Yeah, like when it comes to collecting, like I was actually going to bring this up kind of naturally, but I guess it's kind of coming up naturally now. I was listening to your guys. So for anybody who doesn't know, their podcast comes out Sunday mornings. So like usually that's kind of like how I literally start my week, right? Is like I get up, and if I either go to the gym or I customize or I'm doing chores, it's usually one of those things on a Sunday morning. I always have these guys on in my ear. So one day I was redoing my shelves. I was kind of like had a goal of finishing one of my MCU shelves. And as I'm trying to like jam all these figures into this tight little shelf, all I'm thinking about is I have no space for MCU stuff anymore. The price keeps going up. I think the topic that week was something to do with like collecting kind of what you know, what you enjoy, not just like collecting to collect kind of thing, right? And like right then and there, I was like, I'm going to stop collecting MCU figures because, you know, it's like I'm trying to fit all this stuff into these cram shelves, and all the stuff that I really, really love, like my Spider-Man stuff and my NECA Turtles, like I'm out of room. And it's like trying to redo those shelves with that kind of space. It takes me literally like 8 to 10 hours. Like it's crazy the amount of time that I put into a shelf. And I'm like, I don't have the time, and like I don't have the patience to do this, especially with a category of figures that is just going to keep growing. Like the movies aren't going to stop, the shows aren't going to stop. Like it's the one category in my collection that like really doesn't have an end in sight. You know what I mean? Whereas like, you know, my Star Wars shelf, it's full, but like it also has like, there's very few things that I still feel I need to get for that shelf, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, the series come out and I might get 1 or 2 Black Series a year or something like that, right? So but yeah, I was listening to you guys, and it just like it kind of pushed me over the edge at like between what I was doing and what you guys were saying again, and I'm just like, here we go again. It's like totally
these
relatable.
Fucking guys.
Yeah, I feel like
it's good though. It's good because I felt as soon as I kind of came to that decision, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulder.
See,
and I'm
we're here to free you.
Yeah, man, it's good. So if anybody gets anything out of this today, that's what I want them to get. Is like, you know, I mean, I think you guys do amazing interviews, and I also love Motivation Mondays. Yeah. But like your topics episodes are like they're just the best, man. There's like, and like even like I think I mentioned to both of you guys a few weeks ago, I did like a topic, like a themed show, right? And I kind of like was again kind of inspired by what you guys were doing. Man, that took so much time to prepare. I was like, right on the stream, I'm just like, yeah, don't expect me to do this like weekly. Like, it's just not happening. Like, I don't have that kind of time to dedicate.
Yeah. Well, not when you're fixing 8 hours into your shelves.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
But here's next month's reveal from Hasbro. $24.99. You get a gun and a head.
And a head.
That's it. You saw it here first. First review.
$24 accessory pack. 1 gun, 1 head.
1 gun, 1 head.
No, I mean, I love hearing that, Matt. I'm glad that it resonates with you, and that's a big reason of why me and Prime try to do the podcast. That's kind of why it started. Is I think these are issues that a lot of people deal with. You know, collecting too much. What do I balance? How do I keep it balanced? How do I keep it focused?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad to hear that it resonates. I think sometimes people are like, well, you're trying to tell me not to spend money, or I get the, you know, financial fan Nate, or
Prime to the bin,
Nate, that kind of thing. It's not because I love collecting, but we're all adults here, and you can't just keep that faucet on full stream. You know, you're going to have to start cutting things back and diverting water. And this is a bad analogy, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Some of us, though, we forget we're adults.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
You look at some of those hater comments, and some people do forget that they are adults. Speaking
Clearly.
to other adults, let's not be hateful to each other. But yeah, I mean, even though you put a lot of time in your shelves, Matt, I mean, look at that beautiful display
gorgeous
behind you.
Yeah, I love them. I do love them. There's no doubt there for sure. But it's just the time. But I'm kind of like set goals, right? So it's like I'm very much a goal oriented person. So I kind of said like by the end of February, I have to have all my MCU stuff cleared off in bags and ready to go, and I need to start moving it by the first week of March. So
nice.
Kind of giving myself just a little gap there just to get it done, and then I don't care if it sits empty for 6 months or whatever it takes, right? I can kind of move it slowly once I have that real estate kind of open. So,
right.
But
think it's good that you
some
set
changes.
goals like that too. So by this time, I want to be able to do this. Because if you just put it out there as an idea, like I'm going to sell my
It's just an
figures.
idea. If you don't write it down, it's just an idea.
It might take you 6 months to actually get around to do it.
I talked about selling my legends for almost the whole freaking year, right? Like all of 2022, I was like, I'm gonna sell them, and nothing. And then I set up my whatnot, whatever app, and I tried doing that. It just took a minute. And my first sale that I had, I went to a local toy swap meet in December.
I know, that was awesome. And you had so much luck, You moved a ton of stuff.
And that just inspired. I'm like, you know what? That felt good. It was like a band-aid, just ripped it off. Because I kid you not, that first couple of sales, I was like biting my fingernails. I was like, no, don't buy this. This mother. Get out of here. No, what's up, Mario? Just respond to my text, dude. Don't be ghosting me. But it was crazy. Those first couple of sales really made me bite my nails, and I was like, but then I was like, the collector, I met a handful of cool local collectors, and then after that I was like, all right, floodgates open. I brought out more bins, and I cleared out all 3 bins that I took. So now my goal is no more bins. Like if it's not displayed, it's being sold. And taking it to even more of an extreme, I want it almost seasonal. It sits on the shelf after a while, and then I should just sell it just so I can get new figures, because I do love figures so much. Constantly update it and not get so attached to it. I don't want a museum full of stuff. And then I think when we had Trevor, we were talking about walking into your nerd room or your man cave, and if you don't feel inspired and it's too much, then you need to switch it up.
Time to thin it out.
Yeah. So
Yep.
That's my goal for this year. It's live life with intent.
That's a great goal. I was actually going to ask you guys about goals, since that's a thing you guys kind of talk quite a bit about. Do you guys have any goals that you related to your hobby that you kind of set for yourself for 2023? If so, what are they, and how is that going so far? Not even necessarily just collecting, but Prime with the arcades and Nate with your photographs. Have you guys set any kind of goals for yourself of trying to take something to another level, or even with the figure booth? I know you guys have been really kind of driving that a lot lately too, right? So
yeah, we'll talk about our personal goals, and then we can talk about the podcast goals.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Nate. You can go with if. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
no. There's something I think about, outside of collecting and those kind of goals, and staying focused with when I'm getting in the door. I know what I like now, and I'm trying to focus on that, not focusing so much on the FOMO and the being the first to get something, because in reality nobody really cares if you're first or last, or if you don't get it at all. Just get something that you like. So I'm just trying to stay focused with that, to Prime's earlier point, not adding to the pile. If I add something, take something away. If I add something, take something away. And then outside of that is toy photography. I'm always trying to one up myself. I'm my own worst critic that way, where I scrutinize my photos a lot, and I don't want to put out content that I'm not happy with. Prime knows this. I'm always bouncing ideas off him. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And he'll be honest with me. I think my goal is to try to do a bit more. I felt like I slowed down a lot last year, and it's really a combination of time and lack of inspiration. Because if I'm not inspired, I can't do it.
That's a killer, man.
Even
when it comes to commissions and stuff, I'm super selective, and I just try to say, it's not that I don't want to help you. It's just if I'm not inspired by the project, as soon as I hit a stump, I don't want to do it anymore. I stop dead, and it's not fair to them, and then it's not fair because they're paying, and I'm kind of half. I mean, I never half-ass it, but I mean my heart's just not in it, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Been much more selective about the projects I take on nowadays. Is if it doesn't really speak to me, I'm just nah.
Yeah, I think that's something that us three here could all relate to, just in different ways. You got to have that inspiration to. Yeah, there's the beef.
Yeah,
you guys know what's
Marcus.
up.
How's it going?
Happy
belated birthday, dude.
But yeah, it's just it's having the inspiration, and when I do, try to ride that wave a bit. Let's pump out maybe 2 or 3 photos if I can.
Nice.
But will that?
Do you do multiple stuff? Do you kind of set up per session? Do you do multiple shots, or do you? I know you probably do multiple shots of the same set, but do you change it up? Do you kind of have a day where you're I'm just going to shoot all day today, or is it kind of just whenever you have time, or a mixture of both, or?
Yeah, so sometimes when I have a setup, you'll see like 3 or 4 photos usually come out of that same kind of setup. I did it recently with that rooftop dial just because I had all these ideas kind of flowing. Like, okay, let me do this, let me do that.
The rooftop dial is freaking beautiful.
It is really awesome. But yeah, it just depends really. Do I set a day? I'll try to set time. But if I do an entire day's worth of shots, then I look back and I'm like, man, there's some things I probably could have done today that were more productive. I do try to make it a goal though. Like, okay, the weekend's coming around, I'm going to spend at least 3 hours working on shots.
Yeah.
But that as well, like I can't just force it.
Yeah.
So if I have an idea, usually I'll run into the room. I'm like, okay, I got to get this done. That's when I've talked about this with other
You just
people.
see Nate running across the house.
Yeah, like, oh, see you later, honey. I'll be back in a couple hours,
She's like, what the? So you said beef. I got an idea.
Right.
Middle dinner.
And then I'll try to knock that out and see if I can do another idea or something like that. But then I'll leave that set up for a while and just say, okay, what else could I think of while I have it set up, while the lights are the way I like it, because it's hard to kind of get that mixture right. So I'll try to knock out a few to answer your question. But
that's cool.
Most of the time I do my shots during the weekend when I'm fresh with my mind and I'm well rested. I try to shoot after work sometimes and it just doesn't work out well. I'm not mentally there,
Yeah. That makes it difficult. You
Yeah,
kind of have to be on for something like that. Even at the limited amount of photography I've done, like I've kind of slowly been getting into it a little bit more here and there, but it's just like, sometimes I'm just like, I have X amount of time to give it. And it's just like, I'm going to get the best out of it as I can. Like the one for this week with the digirama.
I love it.
The last time I did a digirama, I didn't really get like the pixelated background, but this one I did. And I kept playing with it, trying to figure out if I could find a way to like prevent it. But in the end, I was like, look, this is the time I've allotted for this. So this is the best I can do with the time that I gave it.
It was really good.
Great.
It turned out great because I couldn't tell till you like showed the behind, and I'm like, oh, it's a freaking digirama. I'm like, you had me fooled.
Seriously, me too.
I couldn't tell. I was like, that's so freaking cool. And then you zoomed out, and I'm like, this son of a gun.
And I got this new fancy light. Matchu Toy suggested this Falcon S7 or something like that.
Yeah,
nice.
And I like it. It was my first time getting to play with it on that shot. So
that was wicked.
Panels like that are great for figure photography. Just smaller ones, I don't have the one that you're showing, but like, something like this, smaller.
Yeah.
I know people use those big panels as well.
Yeah, mine's a little bit bigger, but it just looks bigger.
Are we comparing panels right now then?
Yeah, let's just pull them out.
You want to see my panel?
Putting... Well, yeah, let's see what panel you're talking about. Let's put them on the spot. Let's see this panel.
Mine's really small, so.
Okay. I just mean like on each side of a figure, you put one panel on each.
Yeah,
you do a lot of
that's
shots
usually the way you gotta do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get another couple smaller ones, but I figured one to start is a good start. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to say that. Ulanzi. Those are very cheap, and I've seen a lot of people say great things about them. You can get them on Amazon.
Right
yeah, he's got one right there. Yeah.
Are they a little rectangle kind of things, or?
Yeah, they're like a cylinder.
Oh, okay, cool.
Some of them are shaped like a Mooncube. Okay, some of them are like this, but some are also, like bigger panel, like you're showing.
Right.
But yeah, I know 1/6 shooters talked about them. A lot of people have talked about them, and they're a very cheap alternative. Like, you don't need to spend a lot of money on lights. Everybody thinks like, I gotta get Mooncubes, and believe me, I'm guilty of that too. I got my own.
Well, when you get that invested, I get it, because like when you step into like that level, it's like they're made specifically for what you're looking for. So it's like it's very much like customizing, right? It's like an airbrush.
Right.
It's like do I need to buy a $350 airbrush? No, but like, it's way smoother than my $100 one. So
exactly.
When you're in it, it makes a difference, right? Like it's not necessary, but it's like when you're invested in the hobby,
right?
It kind of happens, right?
You gotta get top quality tools.
I wanted to just show this comment because I agree very much. Jordan from Canada says, with the Toy Migos toying around Unparalleled Universe, I feel the figure booth was a great complementary piece to the existing landscape. I can't picture the community without you guys now.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
I know, man. I feel like we're having our Oprah moment or something.
Wow. That means a lot,
awesome.
Jordan.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you so much for that. That's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's why we try to
always-
focus on, yes, we talk about pre-orders.
Yeah.
That's always a part of the show. But
yeah.
our main focus and the way we start is always with the topic. And we spend the most time on that. And then we'll go into other stuff because that's really what the meat of the show wants to be.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be about.
Yeah. And kind of like segueing into like the goals for the podcast this year is really, one is just being more consistent.
Yeah.
And not that we weren't so consistent, but 2022 was pretty challenging as far as scheduling wise, like life events, just shit fucking happens. So you get burnt out, it's like we do hit this high point where we're like, yeah, we're on track. And then all of a sudden, like Nate and I were like, wait, did we already talk about this? Like, I don't want to sound redundant. I want to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And if we both aren't feeling the topic, because there are some times where I wouldn't even tell him the topic. I'm like, we're going to talk about, and I'd like just name it. I'd be like, the settings. And he's like, really? I'm like, just follow me. And then I'll just lead, and then he'll just pick up. And we did a really great job, I think, the first year of just improvising a lot, where he would come up with a topic, and he's like, this is, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't need anything. Just give me the title. And
Let's
then
just go. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is like, you can go in as prepared as you want. Like on the side of my screen, I have a bunch of notes. Guess how many times I've looked at them tonight? Like not at all. Like, it just, once I get into it, it's just,
right.
And like, you two in particular, you guys have really great chemistry, right? And I honestly think that is really what makes 95% of a podcast or a show entertaining, is like when you can tell the two hosts, if there's multiple hosts, like if they have that energy, like it doesn't really matter what they talk about, because it ends up just being entertaining,
right?
Like watching the two of you guys rib each other sometimes, or you know what I mean?
Because the banter has to be like somewhat a good quality, right? You got USDA beef here, so it's gonna be
good. Me and Prime were longtime friends, through DMs, and I had found Prime just like I think a lot of other people did through his arcades. I purchased an arcade from him, and then started telling him like, I love this thing, and we just kind of had a friendship, and we would talk about a lot of the things that we talk about on the show. And so Prime's like, well, why don't we keep talking about this in DMs? Let's just start a show, and I'm sure other people can relate to this. Yeah, here we are.
And so for the goal for 2023 is continue with those topics, maybe elaborate on, because some of them were really heavy, and sometimes you don't want to, like, it's a big piece of it's like an elephant. We talked about it, but then there's a lot of ways to eat an elephant. It's best in pieces. I'm going all over the place. I got a lot of analogies, but stay with me.
Great analogies.
So
I love
we're gonna be bringing more of those pieces, because some of those topics were like really heavy. Where like we got a lot of feedback like, hey, I just canceled like a bunch of pre-orders. Thanks. Like I kind of hate you, but my wallet likes you, and like now I'm not fighting with my spouse, or now my girlfriend's not mad at me. Stuff like that. Where maybe there's other layers to that topic. Like what else can we go and bring back? And like we've done a couple topics where, hey, we talked about the haters, we talked about the just collecting in general, and we talking about focus, or now we're kind of zeroing in on like how to collect. Yeah, more specific. It's just getting more granular. So this year we have already like topics lined up. We're trying to be more
organized. Is that what
a little bit more organized. I got the cases ready, got everything ready to go, got my notes, guests already pre-lined up. Like we're just trying to forecast as much as we can without getting too crazy, but then also create new content and like try to do like just regular videos, and not like a different spin on figure reviews. That's like a quick peek, because we haven't really said anything, but we've been cooking an idea of like taking a different spin on figure reviews, and that's all I'll say.
Cool. That sounds great. I love it. Well, I mean, if it's anything like the rest of your content, it'll be unique. So I'll look forward to seeing that. But yeah, it's good to see that you guys have been so consistent over the last little bit, especially since you've been back for your break. It's like even over the holidays, it's like, here's Christmas, here's New Year's. Let's just give it anyways, right? And it's just it's awesome, especially as somebody who is a consistent when I watch content, I'm very consistent in like when I watch it, right? It's like, like a lot of the live streams, it's like I have a real hard time hitting like the 6 o'clock live streams, because I just like I'm commuting, I'm on the way home from work or whatever, right? So just never really works out. But yeah, with your guys, again, it's like I get up Sunday morning, what's there waiting for me? My new episode of the Figure Booth, jump on that.
It's crazy how Man, it's crazy. We'll get pictures and it's like, this has become our Sunday tradition. Or now I'm introducing my kids and I'm like, well, we get pictures sometimes and it's like we're on people's TVs. or it's just weird. I'm like,
of the figure booth.
they're all having cereal and their breakfast, and I'm over here fucking dropping F-bombs since 8 in the morning.
That's awesome. Well, I end up double dipping because I do the podcast in the morning, and then usually that night when I'm customizing, it gets the rotation, and
Nice.
I end up doing it again on the YouTube with visuals.
Awesome.
So
nice. Yeah, and that's why we offer both, because we've heard a lot of people, just like you're saying, hey, I like to listen to you guys on my commute. I wait until Monday morning to listen to the episode when I'm going to work. Well, that's awesome. And that's why we have the video version, which sometimes maybe on some guests you want to do the video version a bit more.
That's it, I'm out of here.
Yikes. Yeah,
maybe you'll get my meat tenderizer.
Hi Yoko.
Hi Yoko.
What's up, Yoko?
Yeah, I don't know. Yoko's beef just threw me off. But yeah, so that's what we try to do both. Have both.
I'm not even gonna say nothing.
That's funny. Jordan's got another good question. He said, "What's a topic you both particularly enjoyed or found intriguing? And was there ever a topic that you were particularly excited to air before it aired beforehand?"
That's a good question.
The one I found intriguing, I keep finding intriguing, which is weird, but it's really morbid. It's just like, I've told the story so many times, but it's just the one where, like, once you kick the bucket, what's going to happen with your collection? Like, to me, I don't know. That is really something where I'm like, I want to make sure my collection either has been already like dispersed to other collectors. I don't want to leave this just like mountain of boxes of just like crap, and then like my kids or whoever's after me, they're like, what the, like, this is all trash, and then they just throw it on on the curb. I will literally ghost that and come back and just haunt everybody. Like, you'll have to get Ghostbusters to get me out of here. So that one I found really intriguing. Just
Ghost. I love that you use the Ghost Dad reference. I'm sure there's some people that shout like, "Is that a real thing?" Yes, it is a real thing, and you should look it up.
Yeah,
great movie.
Yeah,
but for me, I think one of the topics, and Matt already touched on this, was the haters episode. It's something I just I really wanted to get out there because I had dealt with some crap before, or I have a bad habit of wanting to get involved when I see that happening, to say my own 2 cents in the other opposite direction. And I've got to make sure to hold my tongue sometimes. But yeah, I mean, the haters episode was one I was really looking forward to getting out, just because there's a lot that I wanted to say about that. Just not because, hey, I'm letting you know that you're getting to me. I'm letting you know that you're not getting to me. And I'm not going to feed the trolls and to feed the hate. And, people just want to bring you down to their level. And I'm not all about that. I'm not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
So
the thing is the communities, as big as the community is, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I do think comparatively to like some of the other like the Ghost, I always use the Ghostbusters ones because I know, like, man, they can be pretty rough. That group can be just a passionate group of fans, right? But it's just it's all about how you just talk to people, right? And we should be building each other up, not tearing each other down, right? If it's not for you, then leave it alone and move along, right? Like,
right.
And one episode that really comes to mind that I was super excited just to even tell Nate about, and then once it aired, I was like, I just know it. This is going to be good. And it was our What's Your Why episode. And we got a ton of good feedback on that. And that really, because it really applies a lot to like my day job and what I've spent a majority portion of my life doing, is just like really coaching individuals and like self-development, and really trying to not only notice and kind of like put people's change their filters and really see the potential in individuals, but then like align them and kind of put like a magnifying glass and see, because a lot of times individuals like that come into my field of work, they're like all over the place. They want to move quickly through the corporate ladder. They want to get that next promotion. And I'm like, what is it that's motivating you? What's driving you? Is it title? Is it money? Is it a sense of something that you're lacking? Like, you have to find your why. What is your why? Why is it that you wake up every morning? And why do you want to show up here? Because for most of us, our day job, if you spend 8 hours or 9 or 10, like that's your second home. You want to make sure that what you're doing, it brings you joy, and you're doing it for all the right reasons. So when me and Nate talked about the why behind collecting, I'm like, a lot of us get lost and we collect just to collect.
Yeah. That's true. I think there's a lot of that, but I do like for me, like I think one of the things you guys reference a lot is like kind of one in, one out. And like to me, I'm just like, I just can't imagine doing that. It seems like that would be such a daunting job to do. So like for me, I'm pretty set in like, as long as I have stuff in where it's going to be, like, my next goal now is to be able to take these shelves that are so crammed and really just spread them out a little bit and like kind of let them breathe a little bit, right? As much as I do enjoy them being really full, I just want them to have some room to breathe, and I can kind of go back to enjoying like posing them, because it's like, as I was trying to get all those MCU shelves done, it's just like, you get one thing in and you hit one and then like an avalanche falls over and you're just like, are you freaking serious, really? Like, just get to the point where I have them all kind of standing almost like vanilla, and I'm just like, this isn't really like fun anymore. Like I kind of wanted to do more with my display. So you got to make those changes.
Even though we preach a lot of, hey, one in, one out, does that always happen? No. Definitely not. It's just more of like a goal that we're trying to adhere to. Like, hey, if I take in one, let me sell something. Or if, 2 weeks down the line,
something that the attachment's not there for, right? So
exactly, because I've got a lot of stuff that sits in boxes, and maybe there's some value there, maybe not. But do I have any interest in breaking it out? That's really what I'm considering. I'm trying to focus on: do I have any interest in that figure for keeping it around, or am I really just keeping it around because I think it's valuable? Trying to pay attention to that, because if you're in this game to make money, you're going to be sadly mistaken. It's just, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't really work that way.
This is not a profit game. This is for fun, and it shouldn't be about, hey, I'm holding this on for value. And I was a victim of that for a long time, where I was holding on to stuff for value because I thought I would be able to sell it at some point. But as I got older and as I started collecting, that really is just not a focus for me anymore.
Well, the thing is it's a job in itself, right? So it's like, like, a lot of people forget that, like, when I do my sales on my Instagram and stuff, like I literally dedicate a weekend to it, because I'm like, I can sell a shit ton of stuff in 3 days, but like, I have to be committed. Like I can't be like, I'll get back to you tonight, because then tonight there's like 40 messages and I'm like, fuck, how the hell am I going to get this done? Right. Like it's just not going to happen. So before we get too far off topic, I was going to actually just see Prime. Is there anything that in regards to goals for like the hop for, Prime arcades for the budget dios? Like I know the last budget dio is kind of like the, a kind of a tier up from the previous ones. Like, are you going to keep doing the budget dios? Is that kind of the plan?
I think I'm going to keep doing them. And to me, it's to keep me consistent, to keep the creativity going. And, also like attending like these toy shows where it's surprising again, because I met like 2 individuals that listened to the figure booth, and they were like, man, I didn't know you, like they're like, I didn't even know like you lived in our area. Like to me, that I don't know, it was just kind of, it was like almost an epiphany where I was like, man, I should be out here. Like everyone here within that's local should know about me. And I was like, I don't know, maybe like a sense of confidence. Like I gotta have more confidence within myself to put myself out there, because I love being amongst collectors, and it's obvious because I spend some time in the streams, I spend time in the chats, so that's what I made. I made myself a goal of being more consistent, attending those type of shows, and kind of putting myself out there more as a vendor instead of just a collector. So getting rid of a lot of my collection, and not necessarily because I'm stepping out of it, but because I want to be on a different side of it, where like almost a content creator, where I'm providing a service, so to speak. So with the budget dials is really keeping me on my toes. And
you're turning those around like real quick too, right? Like,
I'm trying to give myself like a really short window.
That's crazy.
So I don't want to be making like 25 or 30 of them. Like some, I think this month I only got like 4 orders, which to me, it doesn't matter if I get 1 order or if I get 10 orders. I have a short window, and I try to get it all done by the end of the month. So then that way, the next month I can offer something different, because every month, my goal this year is every month is going to be like a new theme or a new dial. And the same thing with arcades. I feel I've used the same template for a really long time. And I've made some small tweaks and changes here in regards to like the buttons and the joysticks. Those are all resin printed, and I designed those myself. But then I was like, nice. You know what, let me take it a step further, and let me just design the whole entire cabinet myself. So this way it's really like a Prime arcade. And
that's cool.
I can take and it's funny because I was going to mention this on our podcast, and really like take the Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet, but add my touch to it, kind of like how Mesco does with certain outfits. Like just
Sure.
make it my own, and then throw it out there. And if it sells, great. And if it doesn't, who cares? And I'm just gonna keep doing it. So that's
sweet,
kind of my
man.
approach this year.
That's really, really cool. Yeah, I kind of actually, that's one of my goals this year, is to try to get into digital sculpting. Just even this whole process with getting, I don't know if you guys saw that like head sculpt I got done of myself, because I'm making a custom of myself. But even like I sent it to my buddy who's like printing in, like kind of he added a baseball cap on one of them, right, or a couple of them, and I'm just even that whole process, I'm just like, I see so much value in knowing this skill. Like even just being able to like print little things for customs for the sake of consistency. Like I'm just like, you could literally elevate the game by just introducing that one thing to the product, like to what you're doing, you know? And so like I'm starting to see value. Like I was always just like, I'm always afraid. It's like, especially when it comes to computer stuff, like I used to be so good with technology, and then I switched to my Mac stuff, and like I got so comfortable just being like, you know, kind of consistent no matter what I was using, if it's an iPad or a computer or a phone, and now it's like whenever something that's not familiar comes into my life, I'm just like, I don't know. So, so that's kind of one of the goals this year, is to try to like, even if it's not good, like I don't need to do like face sculpts and shit. Like I don't think that's going to ever be my forte. It's not a strong suit that I play to, but like even just things for like armor and like, you know, having consistency from one leg to the other. Like, can I do that with my eyes? Yeah. Sometimes it takes me a couple tries, but you know, I can. But like, why make it more difficult than it needs to be, you know? So
I think
so that's kind of where I'm at.
Focusing on learning like that is always a good thing, especially about a hobby that you already invested into. I'm trying to do the same thing with like photo editing. I don't know a whole lot about photo editing, to be honest with you.
Because you do pretty much everything practical, right? Everything is what you see on the screen is what you see in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I try to stay as practical as possible. Now, I do use Lightroom for editing, that type of thing, but that's pretty minimal. So yeah, for the most part, unless I'm trying to erase a stand or something like that, it's usually all practical. But you see some amazing photographers in the community that do a mixture of both. And I feel like that's a way I could really add some useful tools to my tool belt in regards to toy photography, kind of like what you're talking about with when you do digital sculpting. You know, you can use kind of what you've learned and the things that you've done to have sort of a leg up in learning that. And that's just something else you can add to that tool belt. So down the line, like, hey, I want to sculpt this. Well, let me do this digital sculpting because I used to do it this way. So it's just something, you know, I just want to add that to my tool belt as well. Something to improve my photos, to make them a bit better. But I think learning is never a bad thing. And even if you're a casual collector, maybe just what's something you're interested in, try to learn about it. Because you might find that you have more interest than you thought you would. And you're better at it than you might give yourself credit for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you guys like hold yourself accountable to bettering yourself? Like, to, you know, when it comes to these kind of goals, how do you hold yourself accountable to actually execute? Like, it's so easy to just be like, yeah, that's my goal, but like, whatever.
So
go ahead, Prim.
I would say, so one is like, there has to be some type of method, right? And usually like the goal has to be specific. So the more specific you are with the goal, the easier it should be to accomplish. So a lot of times, like taking certain things into consideration, some of the things like Nate has already mentioned, like giving yourself a timeline, not just saying, hey, I'm going to start selling some of my figures like I was last year, but instead saying, hey, I want to start selling my figures by the end of the month, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to attend the toy show. So really identifying what steps you need to do or take in order to complete that goal. So that's really what I've taken, is think of at least 1 to 3 goals, give myself a reasonable time to accomplish them, and then list out all the steps that I need to do in order to complete them, and then document that. So then that way you can see, okay, did I, you know, let's do a check-in in a couple of weeks or in a month or whatever my time frame is. You have to give yourself a quick pulse check, because sometimes we'll forget about our goals. Like you said, we'll say it, but if we don't write it down, if there's not a method to it, there's no process, then we forget about that goal. What was I supposed to do? Like how long did I give myself? Like, where's my 6-pack? well, you never worked out. Like you never went to the gym.
I've been waiting for that 6-pack for
Yeah,
like
I'm like, I'm going to that sculpt
So-
and 3D print and just stick it on my stomach. So you check in and you see, okay, what are my results? Am I at 50% of my goal? Am I 60%, or am I nowhere close? Do I need to realign and pivot? Sometimes that's so. If we don't do those best practices, I think then that's a lot of times where it falls by the wayside, and then we don't hold ourselves accountable. But having a really well documented process, the steps written out, and then having like a support team, like Nate needs to step it up and tell me, hey, you need to start your shit. You've been talking about this all fucking year. Do it. But and so you gotta have that
consecutive episode of the
if you mention this goddamn cell one more time, I'm gonna get you up. Like you got, because even Mario would be like, dude, if you mention about selling your figures one more fucking time and you don't do it, just don't mention it. Don't mention it.
Talking about it. Yeah.
Stop talking about it. Start doing it. So that type of support, that's awesome. I love that freaking support, and it calls your bluff. It's like, dude, if you're gonna do it, do it. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. So
it's good when you have a support that can do that for you, because not everybody can.
Yep.
It's easy to say you can, but it's different to like actually have someone there to be like, but are you really slowing down?
Exactly. Like, you can find, for every one person that's going to call you out on your shit, you'll find 10 other people that will just want to enable you. Like, we'll just keep doing it. Just keep delaying. It's fine. And you want to have a bit of both. I said enablers just for fun. I love the enablers, but I'm just saying you need a little bit of mix of both. You need someone that's going to be able to call you out on your shit, which for me, Prime's kind of the guy. That's why I give him my photos, because he's not afraid to tell me, hey.
And then we get into this lengthy discussion back and forth about cropping. And I was like, God damn it. Like, that shit was hilarious. Literally 2 hours. And I'm like, dude, just call me. Like, I'm done with this DM. I was getting so pissed. And then
I'm taking it personal. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't crop my photos. Like, what are you talking about? You're not understanding what I'm saying.
Oh,
but you need that. You need people to call you out, because, if you have a bunch of yes men around you, they're not really helping you.
Yeah.
But I agree with a lot of what Prime said. You got to set realistic goals. You can't say like, I'm going to do 50 toy photos in the month of February. I'm never going to accomplish that.
Yeah.
I want to do 5 more than I did last month. That's probably a more attainable goal or something like that.
I find like a monthly check-in, like that's kind of what I do with my, like, not just figure goals, but just goals in general. I'm, like I said, I'm very very much a structured person in life, so I like every month I look at like kind of like my main list of goals, and I say like, which ones am I executing at like 80% or above? What am I like really failing at? And then like that next month my focus is like, the one I'm really failing at, that needs to be up at the top now. Like that, that needs to now take priority. The other shit that's kind of in line can kind of move down the line a bit. But that's like really the only way I can hold myself in, like I keep myself in check usually. I have this thing where like I just love scratching shit off a list. So like it's super easy to kind of stay on track for me, because I just love tracking shit and everything like that. So it's
I think it's crucial that you have a step where you can evaluate whether or not you're making progress, because if you do all the steps that we've talked about and then you don't evaluate your progress, then it's like you're going in circles. You got to be able to like check in with yourself and be like, okay, where am I at?
Like the thing is half of setting a goal is enjoying the fact when you accomplish it. So like if you're not able to sit back and celebrate that you killed it, then like why
like bother? What worked well, awesome, celebrate that. What didn't work well, and then make those adjustments.
Exactly.
Love the spreadsheeters, Jordan says.
Hey,
do you guys spreadsheet?
I do.
Hey, I spreadsheet all day long. Like, I try not to put it into the hobby so much, but I end up doing it anyways. But for me, when it comes to my personal stuff and hobby, I'm much more of a like pen and pad. Like I'll I don't have it here, but maybe I do. I 3D printed this. Do I have it here? Oh no, I don't. So I have a ton of like these journals. I have a ton of them. They're blank, and it's just like this one was all my pre-orders from like a couple years ago, and it has like how much was I spending. It was literally like the budget booth before. This was way before the podcast, and because I felt like, man, I'm going crazy. Like, I'm spending so much money. Like, where's my money going? So then I started making the list of like, okay, this is my budget, or this is what I bought. First, I started with just listing all the figures I was buying, and at the end of the month, I'm like, are you kidding me? I spent that much on figures. I'm like, I need to scale it way back. Like,
Yeah,
it was crazy at one point. So
it's.
I mean, when it comes to my personal stuff, pad and paper or pen and paper work better for me.
Just some way to keep track of it. Like you talked about, Matt, having a list that you're checking off, or I think of it kind of like a vision board. Like throw some of the goals. The more you put that in front of you, the more you look at it, and you're like, this is a goal that I have. The better chance you're going to accomplish it. So make it something that's visible that you see all the time. Like, I need to do this. And write it on your wall, like a big Post-it. So every time you see it, you remind yourself. Where Prime uses pen and paper, I use Evernote, which is an app on Android. But I've just got tons of notes in here of just stuff that I've written down, episodes, shot ideas, all that stuff. So I use that every time I get an idea. I'll just go into the Evernote and I'll write it down.
Yeah, so I use my notes app on my phone a lot for tracking pre-orders and what I want to buy. I'm pretty specific about, like, I kind of set a list, and it's like, if it's not on the list, it doesn't matter how cool it is. You're not allowed to buy it.
Right.
But I mean, there's times where it's like, I get a little bit of extra money or something, or it's like money's not. I mean, generally, money's not really my bigger issue is space. But every once in a while, like, something will happen where I'm just like, I impulse, right? And it's like what happened with the Secret of the Used Turtles. It's like, I was like, I'm not going to get the Secret of the Used Turtles. I have one set. That's good enough. And then, like, I saw NECA Store had Secret of the Used Shredder, and I did plan on swapping out Shredder with the first movie one because I like the purple better. And they had everything in stock, and I'm like, all right, I'll just do it. So I ended up buying the 2 packs of both of so I got all 4 Turtles and Shredder. So, but yeah, it was not on the list. But yeah, I figured I'll just put them up in my display at work. So I have a little display in my office. So
I'm fucking too many points of articulations here. It's like it's more later for Nate than it is for me.
I was gonna say I'm later here.
Nate's the one in his PJs. He's Donald Duck right now.
I mean, you don't want to see what's below the screen. But yeah, I mean, the Secret of the Used Turtles, I got them as well, and I think one of the first things Prime said to me is like, another set of turtles, another set of turtles. I said, damn you just basically thought what I was thinking to myself. But they're great. I love turtle figures.
They're awesome.
And
that's the hard part though is J-Shot and Matthew just said this, right? Like on the tonight's episode, but he's like, the shitty part about turtles is like 1 equals 4. It's like, if you buy turtles, you're in for 4. Like I bought the Super 7 Ultimates Donnie. Thinking I was just gonna buy Donnie, and by the time I was done on Kevin's stream opening it, I was already placing orders for like the other 3, right? And I'm just like, you can't just have one. Like, it's just not how it works. With those
you can't start with the worst turtle. You gotta start with the best turtle. So first you buy Raph, and then the other 3 come.
Let's be clear: is Donnie or Leo the worst? Which one are you saying here?
Oh, which one's
put him on the spot?
Is there a worst? Whether it's Donnie or Leo? It's like Leo's further down. It's like Leo's worse, then Donnie, then Mikey, then Raph's the best turtle.
I always liked Raphael, but I will say that Donnie was always my favorite, just because he's like a huge nerd, and I was like, oh, I'm a huge nerd.
Yeah, my son loves Donnie. He was Donnie for Halloween this past year.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's great. I think I was Donatello when I was a kid, but pretty sure it was like made with like weird fabric, so it didn't look green. It's like kind of looked like a dinosaur or something.
It's funny that you say that. My mom, she actually made me and my brother turtles outfits when we were younger, but they were made of like some satin material, so we were like very shiny turtles. It was a little weird.
You're like the turtles that go on tour.
I don't remember.
Why am I sparkling?
I didn't want the Turtles on Tour version, but hey, this is cool. I'll take it. But yeah, to your point,
I made the guitar for you out of a cardboard.
Right. To what you said about the 1 equals 4. That's how I feel about this this new third party.
That's why I skipped it.
You can't just stop with 1. You have to go with the rest of them. Yeah, a smart man. They're great, but yeah, I don't need another set.
That's the problem. Is I already have. I have my Super 7s. I have my Toon ones. I have 2 sets of Toon ones, and I have movie ones. Now 2 sets of movie ones, and I'm like so tempted to get those new Mirage ones. I'm like, oh man, those look good. That I don't even have attachment to those, and I want them.
Yeah, and they get the Last Ronin line coming out, which
Yeah.
I just got done reading that recently, and holy
Oh,
crap,
nice.
that's such a
So,
great.
yeah, I need to read
Oh.
that one.
You're gonna love it. It's so good.
It's been spoiled for me, but I still want to read it. So.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I've
you probably know
it's great. I've heard it's like some of the best stuff that they put out in a long time.
I think a lot of the secret to that is that you have Eastman and Laird back.
Yeah, exactly.
So it feels very classic, but also feels very new and inventive. It's really good.
Nice. Yeah, I need to get on that because it's the story appeals to me in a big way. So.
Yeah,
Matthew Toy said, I agree, Jordan. It can be hard for some people to keep organizational systems. It's not always spreadsheets for some, but finding a way that works is key.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Agree.
Yeah.
Fucking guy.
78 was Prime.
See, he's part of the support system. He's part of my support system. I love that dude.
That's great.
That's a long-standing beef there.
Yeah.
Have you guys bought anything this year yet? Like, what have you got? Nate, did you get Cyborg Superman?
I did.
Did you? How do you like him?
I actually don't even have him yet.
Okay. In transit?
Yeah, so I was going to ship him from HLJ. He's still in my HLJ warehouse.
Oh, okay.
I'm weird when it comes to shipping things from HLJ. I'm like, I need at least 3 to 4 things in here before I'm going to ship it.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting until something else drops. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So my Peter B. Parker just charged, and then the Ronin
that's the
figures
reissue, right? The Sentinel.
Yeah. The Sentinel.
That's a great figure.
And the Ryu Sentinel or Sentai Warrior whatever. We know the ones that we're talking about with Toy Bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's about to charge, and I was like, I'm gonna have to get all 4 because if you get one, I was like, forget that. That's $150 each. I canceled them. I was like, nope, I'm not gonna dive in, even though I want them. I really, really freaking want them so I can complete the team, but it's the same thing. I'm like, nope. So now I just have Peter B. Parker sitting there in my warehouse, and I'll see if I get anything else. If not, I'll just ship him. But I just got something in yesterday from Mezco.
Oh, what'd you get?
The Vigilante accessory pack.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And they're sending something else because I just got a notification from FedEx that something should be delivered in a couple of days. I'm hoping.
Yeah, they got a bunch of stuff that's kind of dropping right now, right? I know over Christmas they were just drop.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get Bishop by chance, Brian?
Nope. I'm hoping it's Conan.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I know
Conan is shipping, isn't it?
Yeah, Conan is shipping, and I know you.
Yeah, Conan is shipping.
Cousin Eddie.
I didn't get Cousin Eddie. I didn't get like a lot. So that's the only thing I can think of. It's Conan. I'm like, I hope, because it says like labels created. It should be here in a couple. So between 2 Machus.
Machu versus Machu.
I try to buy toys, but I can't buy enough toys to compare to how many rings 78 Points has on his hand.
It's his counter. He just
I'm like, hey, I tell him
to keep track of what he buys.
I'm like, those rings must be interfering with your Wi-Fi or something, because that's probably why it keeps going out on you, my dude. Put some oven mitts on those suckers and just.
Oh man,
love you, my dude.
We love you, 78.
He gets into arguments on our episodes, and
yeah, I know he does.
I think he had like 60 comments for the year.
Well, it's like I feel like it's like he watches the replay and he comments live while he's watching.
Yes.
It's not a live; it's just a comment.
I think he does, because you'll see comments that are like within the first 10 minutes. We talked about that here.
Yeah,
and then you like as the comments go on, it's more time into the episode.
I crack up every time. I'm like, oh, and he's like calling me out. He's calling me, and then he's calling Nate out, and then it's freaking hilarious. He's adding like commentary to it.
Basically, Nate needs to sell everything for leisure. That's one that always comes to my mind.
He's like infusing himself into the show without even wanting him there.
He's becoming the third host.
Yeah.
It's like Inception, you know. Eventually, we're gonna be like, oh, maybe we should have him
next
on.
time we'll just introduce him. We're like, and our commentary provided by 70 too many points.
International correspondent 78.
Have you gotten anything else like other than Superman being charged? Have you got anything else this year so far?
Gosh, I'm sure I have, because that's me. I have the new Conan from Mezco coming.
Cool.
So that's number 2. I think that's all I have coming right now. Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty tame for month 1. We're already, more than halfway through. So, and Prime, you haven't gotten anything?
I got charged for Spider B Parker last week, and
he's been offloading.
I got notified for Constantine. I ordered it through like a
cool.
local buddy, and he's like, "Hey, I got Constantine, so I just gotta pay him."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I
that's
did
it.
get Constantine as well.
I'm trying to just like take it really easy.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I come to think of what, like, I've gotten a few WWE figures because, as I alluded to earlier, I've been indulging in that nostalgia pile for the last little bit. So I've been getting stuff to like build ultimates because I really like the ultimate figures. I don't really care for like the elite ones, but the kinds of the ones with better articulation.
Yeah.
So it's like all the ones that like characters I really want that I feel like they won't make. I'm like, I'm just gonna make my own. So
nice.
Been like kind of like a bunch of kit bashing, right? I'm trying to keep it like very light customizing, not a lot of painting and sculpting, just like chill.
That's my type of customizing.
Yeah, it's been fun. They're really, I find them very customizer friendly. So they're pretty dope. But
I really like
your aside from that,
your Secret Santa custom that you did.
The Poison Ivy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Poison Ivy a lot.
Really
that happened fast because I kind of had I had to shift gears like right after midpoint check-in. I was making a Darkwing Duck figure, and I could not get. I really wanted to play with like a nicely our import style articulated Darkwing, but then I couldn't like kind of decide on if I wanted to take my own kind of like aesthetic look to it or if I wanted to try to mimic like the cartoon. I couldn't really come to an agreement with myself on what I wanted. And then like I kept having one shoulder joint that kept breaking, and I was just like, I lost the passion. The passion became frustration, and I was just like, you know what? I don't want to struggle through this for another month and a half. I'm just going to start over. And that's what I did.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start. So yeah, and Darkwing Duck is a tough one.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's it. Nate starts with the Sharpie.
Start with the Sharpie.
That's how you start. Yeah.
What can I use to color this with? But I do like. I was in one of your WIP Wednesdays, and I'd mentioned using a Sharpie, and you're like, actually, Nate, really don't do that. You know,
no,
because that's gonna bleed and get everywhere. So I appreciate the advice because I've probably ruined quite a few of my figures and other people.
It was funny on one of the recent episodes you guys did, you were talking about like your process when you get new figures and like how like you put everything in a container and it's all like kind of labeled for who gets what. And I kind of have a similar thing where like for the longest time I bought a bunch of like little Ziploc bags, different sizes for different accessories and whatever. And then like kind of my system is as I accrue new figures for my display, they all kind of go in a bin, like kind of a holding bin until I can have the time to kind of put them in. And I always label the baggie with a little Sharpie, like who it goes to, so I know exactly. But one of the things I've found over time is like I had that retro Mr. Fantastic figure that had like the alternate lab coat with the lab coat arms.
Yep.
And I noticed that the Sharpie from the bag actually transferred to the white lab coat. So now I'm actually off doing Sharpies on the bag, and I'm actually just writing them on little pieces of paper and sticking it in the bag. So
that's crazy.
78 says Prime puts them in a giant plastic bin for 2 years, then does a live IG to sell them.
Pretty much. Hey, don't be sharing my secrets, my dude. Like, come on.
Hey.
Whatever works. Whatever.
Hashtag accurate.
Yeah. But yes, don't use Sharpies. They bleed through over time. And actually, even like this Matt Hardy figure that I did, just to make it easy, I like I dyed the arms black. So I didn't have to worry about paint rub on the elbows. And even in the spots where I painted over it, like I primed it and painted over it, you can't probably see it, but there's it's already starting to bleed through the skin tone right on the lines. I kind of just cleaned up the lines and I can already see it bleeding through, and I'm like, fuck off. It hasn't even been 2 weeks and it's already coming through. So yeah, that's another thing is like dye is very similar to
it's crazy.
It is. It's so nuts, man. It just goes so fast.
I've been using these for a lot of my Mezcos because, as we all know, Mario broke like 2 of my D-tops. But I had the Netflix Punisher just straight out of the box and just vanilla pose because of that section of my D-top was just all like Marvel stuff, right? And I bought a bunch of these because they went on sale over here at Michael's. And I was putting them in, but to fit a Mezco and these type, you have to pop off the head. I popped off the head, and it's the longer neck, and his neck was all black. It was from the dye from the
from his shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And he has
sucks.
this weird crate. Like I was looking for him because he's in one of here, but he's not like I can't really pull him out right now. But I was like, this sucks. Like if I sell him eventually, I'm gonna have to like take a hit because. And then I started pulling up his sleeves, and his arms are starting to get dyed too.
Like
but he has plastic wrapping around his arms. It's that old Joker body. And I'm like,
okay.
and instantly I'm like, maybe I should get rid of my older Mezcos because now the dye is starting to. And that Punisher's. I mean, yeah, he's old, but he's not that old.
Yeah, he's not super old. Yeah.
No, so his whole neck, he has. It looks like it literally looks like took a Sharpie across his neck. But
that really sucks. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I pulled out my Gordon recently, which I had in a bag, and I had his vest in there, GCPD vest.
Yep.
With a hand.
And the hand transferred it.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yep.
Right
yep. That's how my Punisher is looking.
Sucks.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's how his neck looks.
It's rough, man. Like
all across down here.
It sucks. Yeah. So now I'm like, well, now I got to start like.
Lesson learned. Thanks, man. I wish you would have told me that before you invited me to your bathtub.
That's great.
He's like, come on, bring your Mezcos.
What's up, man? It says Sharpies are the enemy. Yeah, man. It happens. But it's like dye too. I've had a lot of people, especially because lately I've been dyeing some stuff. I've had a lot of people reach out and be like, oh, can you tell me more about that process? And I try to err everyone on the side of caution. I'm like, look, if you're putting paint on it afterwards, like it's gonna come through. Like I haven't had any luck not doing that, so too much. But yeah, it's okay. Like what I've been doing is like I'll dye it and then like I'll let it sit in soapy water. I'll change the water every day or twice a day, and I literally let it soak for like 10 days. And even after like 10 days, it's still coming out of the figure. Like that's crazy. I know. I can't get rid of it, so it's frustrating.
It's permanent for a reason. Right.
I guess so.
Something.
But I mean, the nice thing about it is it really does alleviate concern about like tight spots. Like for me, the only spots that I really struggle with paint rub are like in the joints where it's like friction is required. So it's like there's really nothing I can do about it, right? So a lot of the times I'll dye like just the knee joints or the elbow joints before I put it all together to like kind of just give myself that security. If there's any rub, at least it's still like black under or whatever, right? But yeah, I use it sparingly because I'm just like, I don't want it to touch something else and transfer over. Or yeah, I did a Venom once. I dyed an Omega Red body, and when I did the white spider emblem on it, like within 6 months, like it was just ruined. And I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Oh man,
super.
It's gonna be rough too, especially when you spend as much time as you do. I'm sure on some of these, and then you see it 6 months later. You're like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah. So yeah, I err on the side of caution with like any of those like dye, like Sharpies or dyes, because I'm just like, even like Gundam markers, like I've had issues where like you can still see a line go through even after you paint it. It's just, yeah, it's not great. So
how do you? I mean, like, is there ways to get around that? Like, obviously not using a dye, but how do you do that without dyeing it? I mean, do you have to paint it?
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to, like I said, I usually use it more as security than anything else, just in case like my prep work fails. But a lot of times I just prep it and just kind of hope for the best. Really, it's nothing you can do. So yeah, I haven't mastered I know there's a few people out there that are like guaranteed paint rub free, and I'm just like, fuck, how do you do that? Like, like I've been doing this for 8 years. I consider myself decent. Like I don't know how that works. Like, I'm not saying that mine are like riddled with paint issues, but it's just like there's some spots where like friction is friction and it's there, and there's just like there's nothing you can do about it, or at least that I know of. I guess I might be wrong. I don't know, but yeah. So it's not that big a deal. I just actually finished this this Warbird figure.
Ooh.
Oh wow!
So I'm really happy with how. Yeah, we made jokes on the live streams about how it's like she's got armor. It's like armor. She's all armored up.
She's all armored up. She's ready to. She's ready for battle.
That's great, man. It looks awesome, and that's one of those things that like, Hasbro won't give you that. No way. That's too much skin.
The safe bet, right?
So, it's like those 90s outfits were kind of crazy. It's like, what?
Yes, they were.
Where is she going to go battle at? Like, is she on at 5 at the main stage or what? What's going on here?
Nate, that one that you joined me where I was working with those wires, this is what, whenever I was straightening those wires, this is what I was ultimately doing. So I do the, and I actually dyed these. I covered them in green stuff so it could be a little bit more pliable.
Yeah.
And then I dyed
that came out
them.
great.
Yeah, I really like
it looks awesome.
It turned out. So
I
can't wait to photograph her.
Yeah, your wire straightening technique like kind of blew my mind because I had told you I think during that stream that my wife
just had to do it, right?
Yeah, she's pretty crafty, so she's got always different ideas, and usually I'm the one that like, hey, I need help with this or I need help with that. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll do that part. But getting straight wires was such a pain in the ass because I'd have to like, bend it, and then I'm looking at okay, how can I make this straight? I'm putting books on it to try to keep it straight, not even realizing that your strategy, which for anybody that missed it, is using a drill and then you hold it with the other side and you just drill it until it's
you just drill
straight.
It.
You just keep drilling it, man.
Where are you drilling into?
No, so you take the
I didn't explain it very well.
I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, Matt will probably be better at explaining it than I just did. But Matt,
I'm getting wire and I'm drilling it. Where am I drilling it? Just spinning wire everywhere.
Prime, that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about?
That's great. Yeah, it works really well, and it's like I've used it a few times, and it's funny because the person that taught me isn't even a figure person. It's like somebody who just is like a handyman, and he's like, yeah, it's great.
All right, so explain it to me, Matt.
Okay, so you take a piece of wire, right, and then you cut it to the size you want. You do like a little L shape on one side, so you can kind of plug it into the chuck of a drill, like a power drill. And then you take the other side, you hold it with a pair of pliers, and then you just slowly run the drill, and it straightens out. So by the time you're finished, you just have like this perfectly straight piece of wire.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, works well.
I don't know what it is with you, Nate, man. You and the counting the head sculpts and explain how to straighten a wire. 36 ring.
What's up, Moose Milk? My cohort partner in crime from our my Saturday night podcast, saying hello on his graveyard
me
shifts.
with a good time.
Jordan caught us on Saturday too. We did our debut on YouTube this weekend. It was pretty fun. So
nice.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's fun. Saturday nights. If anybody wants to check it out, it's late night, but 10 p.m. PST. Late.
Awesome.
Ooh, but it's Saturday, so it's like
it is Saturday.
Hey,
I can stay up late on a Saturday.
Yeah, you're safe. Sure. I know we're going to probably cut it off in about 10 minutes, but I thought maybe one more thing we could discuss. It's not really toy related. It's actually something Jordan mentioned earlier about you guys taking on like non-toy related topics. And I don't know how much traveling you do, Prime. I know I've seen pictures of your last trip when you guys went to, I can't remember where it was. Somewhere. Spain, warm. I was gonna say somewhere warm, and then and I followed along Nate's trip to Europe as well, and I was like, oh man, now I kind of you went to Greenland, right? Or Iceland? Mm-hmm. Iceland. So you obviously both like to travel. Do you guys have any travel plans for 2023?
Yeah, traveling's always something I try to focus on. My wife's actually a flight attendant, so it's a even.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at you, Nate.
Oh yeah,
the comments. It's
Yoko. I was like,
Yoko.
What the hell, Prime?
Freaking Yoko.
Don't ask Prime which number is which. But yeah, so traveling is big part of our life. Something that we really focus on. We're actually talking right now. Where's the next place we want to go? I think we've been doing a lot of Europe, so. Next place is probably going to be somewhere tropical, like we're thinking Bora Bora or Turks and Caicos or something. I'm not quite sure yet, but yeah, it's definitely on the plan this year to go somewhere cool.
Very cool. That's awesome. Prime, got anything lined up?
It's so funny. We want to try. I want us to go on some type of Caribbean cruise. I did it a long time ago. Went to like Bahamas, St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, and one other one. And it was a blast. So I want to do that again. But we're actually talking either going to Toronto or Vancouver.
Oh, that's awesome. I can definitely. I mean, like you've been to Toronto. You went to Toronto with the Enablers, right?
I didn't.
Oh, you.
I did not.
Oh,
And
you
then
were-
Bearded Bills gives me a shit about it like daily. So
I need to connect with Bearded when I'm there next. I'm going to Toronto for Van Expo in August.
okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to connect with some people while I'm there. Hopefully, it'd be cool if I could meet up with Kevin. Would be cool, and Bearded for sure. But yeah, Vancouver. Honestly, man, as somebody who grew up in Ontario and then moved to Vancouver, but the biggest issue I have with living in Vancouver is when I go to touristy cities, I come back and I'm like, yeah, Vancouver's better. It's like the hardest part because it's like I live in such an awesome city. Like Vancouver is so cool. It's expensive. I will say it's not cheap. Like, you know, finding a place is expensive, and there's lots of like bans on like short-term lodging. So like, you know, the Airbnb stuff's not really a viable option here anymore, at least not right downtown anymore, unless you want to do like long-term. But it's an amazing city. Like it's just like, even when I used to commute like over a bridge, like looking at a mountain.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I did it for eight years, and I'm just every day I was still like, this is fucking beautiful. Like it's just
that's awesome.
So damn nice. And it's like, I do like Toronto. Toronto's a really fun city, but it's just like you don't really get the nature bit from Toronto. Toronto's very much like a concrete jungle. It's like, it's just like all buildings. It's not that there isn't cool buildings. There's a lot of variety and like architect and stuff like that, but like it's just concrete. And it's like when you're in Vancouver, it's like it's green. It's, you can get like all the different, you know, you can, you know, go skiing or hiking or scuba diving or like it's just, there's so like no end to the options, right? So
yeah, and that was the thing too. Like last year, Nate and I, we did a lot of travel. Like we did traveling at opposite times where it did impact the podcast, where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks. I'm going to freaking Spain. Like,
I'm like, oh, cool, because I'm going out right when you get back.
And when I came back, he left. So I was like, hey, well, I guess it's a good time. So this year, we definitely like want to do Warren, but then we really did love Europe, and like, I don't know, it's just like you want to tackle everything, but you're like, let me just pace myself. And there's a couple things I want to check off my list, and then obviously the wifey has some things I want to check off her list. So we just compare lists and see what makes the most sense.
Nice.
I think traveling, for anybody out there that maybe hasn't had the chance to travel, I definitely think it's something that you need to make a priority. You know, just like you make collecting figures and whatever other your hobbies are, you got to make time to travel, because seeing the world is such a cool experience, and you're getting exposed to things that you've never seen before. And it's just, you know, meeting different people, seeing how different people live across the world. And that's some of the things I love the most. It's just learning about other cultures and, you know, just being able to see it, you know. Wisconsin, hey, don't sell yourself short. You guys, just the masters of cheese.
The cheese state,
yeah, cheese.
Nothing beautiful about Wisconsin, just beer and serial killers.
Hey, I like serial killers, so I'm there.
That's really funny. Yeah, we actually, to be honest with you, once I started seeing all your pics and stuff, Nate, I was like, I started showing my wife. And now, like, that's kind of like on the radar for us too, right? We're starting to look at, like, we usually do Europe every other year. So like last year we did Amsterdam. So this year we probably won't do a Euro trip, but probably hopefully next year. So, and we both we love England. Like it's kind of our regular spot. We've been like 3 times, but like you said about traveling, like the first time I ever got on a plane was when I came out to check out Vancouver to see if I was going to move here. So it's like I never did any traveling. I traveled around the US when I lived in Ontario. Like we did like Myrtle Beach and Disneyland in Florida and stuff like that. But like, but yeah, never anything like off the continent. And then once I started like traveling out and about, like I was like, we went to Costa Rica, we went to England and France and Amsterdam and Scotland, or not Scotland, Ireland. And it's just like, yeah, once you get out there and you start experiencing everything, it's pretty surreal, man. It's like an eye opener.
It really is.
Japan would be awesome. Jordan is Japan.
Yeah. I went to Japan a couple of years ago. Went to Tokyo, and it's one of my favorite places I've ever visited.
Oh, nice.
People there are extremely kind. It's clean, and to 78's points, it's the mecca of toys. Like my wife started getting annoyed because I'm like, hey, can we go back to Akihabara? Can we go back to Akihabara? Which is like Toy Town. You know, there's just, no matter where you go, there's toys everywhere. And you got better prices there too. You don't have to pay all those import fees, so you can get it in store, and you pay $50 for it, and you got a figure that's probably $100 on HLJ just because of imports and all that stuff. So yeah, Japan's amazing.
Yeah, that's another one that's on our list. For the longest time, I shied away from it because I consider myself a pretty picky eater. Like, I don't really like seafood. So like a big part of my fear of Japan was like, am I going to be able to really eat? Because I know they do a lot of seafood. But then I started talking to people, and most people are like, oh yeah, you'll be fine.
The food's Marcus, you just said the food's great. I love ramen.
Yeah, I do too.
Amazing ramen there. Lots of great food. I mean, I'm not just focusing on ramen.
Wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot of really cool stuff there. Yeah. I agree with Yoko. Everyone should go to Japan at least once. It's a unique experience.
Better than McDonald's. They're better than the US.
It is. We went to a McDonald's in Japan. It was like a late night dinner type thing, and it was some of the best McDonald's I've ever had.
That's great. Yeah, I grew up on McDonald's, so I still have a soft spot for it, even though I'm just like, I know I probably shouldn't be eating this as much as I do, but
Hey, we all have our guilty pleasures, right?
You only live,
That's right.
So.
Oh wow, 78's really breaking out.
Yeah, he's going unhinged by himself.
Man,
oh yeah.
Jeez, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I got nothing. It's like, it's cereal time, boys.
Yeah. The rings took
Clang
over.
them spoons.
Like, Clang
I can see him doing the Doctor Strange thing, and he's just he's going crazy with the rings.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, I think we'll wrap it up for the evening. But thank you guys both very much for taking the time to do this with me. I really appreciate it. And I love what you guys do. So please don't stop, because it's the best. And if anybody hasn't checked out the Figure Booth on YouTube or on podcast services, I highly recommend it. It is inspirational, to say the least. Thanks. But I definitely recommend it. Like I said, it's very unique to what everybody else offers, and I think that really brings a competitive edge for you guys. So keep up the awesome work, and please don't stop. If you guys are looking for any of their socials, they're all in the description. For both the Figure Booth and for Prime and for Figure Fan Nate. So please go and show them some love. And what do you guys got to say before we go?
Just a big thanks to you, Matt, for having us on. Yeah, always been fans of your show, and we're just happy to be here. It was great to have you on as a guest. For anybody that missed it, if you want to know more about Matt, you should check out our guest on the Figure Booth. I think we could label that one Snap Crackle Pop for our shared cereal love.
Love.
Yeah, we just appreciate all the kind words, man. Yeah, it was a great time.
Oh, sorry, I lost my audio because Siri heard me talking.
Oh yeah.
And then she went on in my headphone like, no, fuck you.
She's like, did you say cereal? I just ordered you a pallet of cereal from Amazon.
That's great.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again very much. And like I said, everybody, if you aren't following them, please go show these guys some love. They deserve it. So, next week I'll be here. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll be here doing something. So I also have planned the next month or so of guests. So I kind of have like a guest every other week. So,
nice.
So I'll be kind of spilling that out over the next few weeks. So if you're interested, stick around. And thank you guys all for being here, and hope you guys all have a great week.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace out. Thanks, guys.